Thank you for joining us. We're going to go ahead and get started here today. Hello and welcome to today's topic, our webinar of the week called Community 2.0, how top brands are modernizing their insight communities through mobile chat-based research techniques. Today, we're going to learn how recent advancements in mobile technology are enabling big changes in this common type of research technique. We're excited to have everyone join us here today. So we're going to go ahead and dive right in, but please feel free to put questions in the Q&A box in Zoom. We'll have a section at the end, and we are recording this session as well. So in case you'd like to share it with any of your colleagues following the session here today. Okay. So just a quick word of introduction. My name is Matt Kleinschmit. I'm the founder and CEO of Reach3 Insights. We're a modern insight consultancy that specializes in mobile chat-based conversational research techniques, and we're part of Rival Group. I'm here today with my colleague, Jennifer Reid. Jen, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi, I'm Jennifer. I'm the co-CEO and Chief Methodologist at the Rival Group, which is made up of both Reach3 Insights and Rival Technology. And I'm really happy to talk about one of my favorite topics today. Maybe as way of introduction, Matt, you can bring us to the next slide. I think sometimes it helps to understand kind of where we've come from. And this is actually a journey that Matt and I have been on together for a few years, right from the Ipsos Reid days. Ipsos Reid, previous to that, was a company called the Angus Reid Group that was founded by my father in 1979. And he sold it to Ipsos in 1999, and it became Ipsos Reid. And when we were there, we started off like all researchers of our age have, working, primarily with telephone research, but really got to be involved in the innovation space when we started to move online, and that really sparked something in a group of us who remain together to this day, really interested and committed in how we always move methodology forward with research. In 2000, my brother Andrew started Vision Critical. And at Vision Critical, we really pioneered the notion of an insights community and what that was going to be. Vision Critical is called Alita now. And in 2018, we started the Rival Group. We really felt like we still really believed in the community approach, but that there were things that we really wanted to do to really expand that approach into a more modern methodology. And that's really what we're going to cover through today. Matt, you want to give me the perfect? So I love communities because I think they really fulfill the needs of multiple people. So, I think a community gives us the ability to engage with people in an authentic way. It gives clients access to their real customers and people an opportunity to engage with brands. And so it sort of takes some of this sample pressure that we feel on both sides of the equation away, because we're actually engaging in this authentic conversation between groups of people, allowing us to feel really good about our sample and for people to feel good about taking surveys. The other thing is, because it's a community, and especially a conversational one, we actually get to know each other. We get to know the participants. And this means that surveys as a result are shorter, they're more on topic. And so that sort of volume of request for feedback is reduced because you're really able to get insights in a very quick fashion. It allows our clients to have the voice of their customer in their boardroom along every step of the way. I have so many stories of clients who got themselves into a disagreement amongst their internal teams about the way forward and how they were able to use their communities to get some insights into what their customers think really fast in a way that is really, really powerful. And the third piece of this that really makes me happy is the sort of mobile nature of a conversational community. Lets us do studies while people are on the go. This allows us to get closer to the events and the actions that people take, and it gets away from this need to be sending an email and 2 weeks later, after you've done something, you're being asked to recall what that experience was. Because we're bringing it conversational right into your handheld device that we all have on us all the time, we're able to sort of get through some of the recall challenges that we can traditionally have in research and get much closer to the individual. I think the best way to sort of show Community 2.0 sort of in its sort of, especially in its respondent facing world, is to show you this video Matt's going to show here from our Dell client. And this is the recruitment video that they use to sort of introduce the concept of their community, which is called the Dell neighborhood.
Are you eager to share your advice or questions with us? Join the Dell neighborhood and help us turn your opinions and expertise into actual improvements. The neighborhood is a mobile chat community where you can share your feedback with us through videos, photos, and text. By joining the neighborhood, you'll be a part of influencing the products and services we create here at Dell. So how does it work? Click the link in this video, follow the steps, tell us where you live, what Dell products you own or use, and officially accept your invite to join the neighborhood. Designed with your preferences in mind, you'll receive SMS push notifications that make it easy for you to complete chats via text. Prefer to use a laptop? No problem. Dell neighborhood chats are also accessible via the web. And it doesn't stop there. Every time you complete a short survey that we send you, you are automatically entered into a prize giveaway where you get the chance to win gift cards, Dell merchandise, and Dell electronics. So what are you waiting for? Click the link and join the neighborhood today.
Awesome. That's an awesome video. I always love watching that video and seeing how Dell is really presenting this community to the world out there and how they're inviting people to join. Let me just advance the deck here. Okay. Awesome. Yeah, so I always love hearing from clients, and I always love kind of taking a look at, our client list, frankly. Over the past 5 years, since we launched the venture, we've had the privilege really of working with a wide variety of clients across an incredible diversity of industries, from CPG to retail, from tech to media, from financial services to health. I'd say the one thing that's consistent across all of these clients and industries is that, client researchers are really looking for more modern ways to connect with consumers, business professionals, physicians, and stakeholders today. We hear over and over and over again that the traditional types of research techniques are falling behind, and they're really not allowing client researchers to stay ahead of their internal stakeholders, to be able to get out and ask the questions and engage with consumers and their audiences in a way that their stakeholders are demanding. And so Community 2.0 really provides this. It was designed to exactly bring these advancements to a very common type of research technique, the modern insight community. And we're going to hear from many of these clients in just a bit. I think, as we get into our discussion here today, one of the things that I think is really incredible about communities, and myself, I've been involved in designing and managing communities and community-based learning initiatives for over 15 years now. One of the things I really love about them is how they can help brands across a wide variety of business functions. Whereas, a common type of ad hoc project, you really are designing it to address a specific question. With a community, you have the opportunity to have a greater degree of flexibility and agility. So you can address a whole host of needs, from strategy work that seeks to identify new opportunities for growth through immersive, illumination of your target customer through journey mapping and other sorts of techniques, to new product and service development, work streams that engage your high value consumer targets in developing those new products and services that you plan to launch. Also, brand marketing and rapid product commercialization, being able to very quickly and iteratively test things like, package, copy, creative, message testing, et cetera. Communities can be used for that in a very efficient fashion. And then finally, also to get deep learning on how to improve your customer and user experience. Communities offer a way to get beyond the metrics and to deep dive into those underlying emotions and tensions that are actually driving the behaviors that you're measuring. So in total, the speed, agility, and flexibility that the Community 2.0 solution offers is one of the key reasons why this has really become so popular with clients here today. So today, we're going to focus on 4 aspects of Community 2.0. Community 2.0 is really a complete reimagination of the community experience for this modern era. Today, we're going to highlight 4 areas. The first is engaging, using a respondent-first approach to engaging with your community members. We're going to share some examples of that and listen to some clients talk about that. In addition, we're going to dive into what we call understand, agility and flexibility at scale. New ways of understanding some of the motivators that are driving consumer behavior. 3, we're going to hop into an area on optimization, specifically around the idea of modern community management techniques. This is an area that we see over and over again from clients as being a challenge. And we have some really, really succinct and tangible ways to get around that we're going to share today. And then finally, elevate. The idea of reimagining deliverables and really incorporating digital storytelling to help to activate the insights among all of your key stakeholders. So let's go ahead and jump into pillar number 1. Jen, do you want to take us through this?
I'm excited to talk about pillar number 1. Pillar number 1 is super close to my heart. I've spent most of my career trying to figure out ways to recruit participants, to keep them engaged. And I have to say that the most important engagement activity that you can get involved with in a community is not all of the extra folderol that we get involved with. It is making the actual research experience one that is pleasant, that's interesting, that might even be fun for the individual. And that's what's going to keep them coming back to answer again. There's sort of 2 pieces of this that I want to unpack. The first one, and you can advance the slide, please, Vanna, is being mobile first. We are all in on this notion of being mobile first. The smartphone is the great equalizer. No matter how old you are, your income, where you live in the world, the smart device is the absolute number 1 device that people are using. It certainly helps us cut through with younger people. The idea that all of our communities are mobile first, that they're based on SMS messaging, really is sort of the cornerstone of Community 2.0. It means that you're in a channel, you're getting invitations in a channel that you are much more likely to respond to, that's much less cluttered than our email boxes. As you sort of skew into a younger audience, this is absolutely imperative to be out of email. But we find that even when we move into boomers, they're still using their smart devices. They know how to text. I mean, if anything, the pandemic gave us a couple of gifts. And one of them is that everybody knows how to video call now. And so we're really able to tap into those skills to really make a mobile first approach appropriate for everyone. So mobile is one. And then the second pillar to me in a respondent first approach is this notion that research should be a conversation, not a test. And you're really seeing a lot of conversation in marketing around this notion of moving to a conversational approach. And what that really means is our chats are unpacked, our surveys are unpacked into individual chats that make up an overall ongoing conversation that an individual is having with a brand. It feels like messaging. And in fact, if you have your mobile phone on you, which I'm sure you do, you can grab that QR code and either save it for later, or we're going to put it up again at the end to get a kind of a feeling for what our chats are like. We use plain language as much as we can. We're trying to keep it from feeling overly test-like. But it's not just those pieces of it. It's also our opportunity to incorporate GIFs and emojis and things that are fun, keep it visually interesting. We're able to keep it short because we're trying to jump into all of these little micro moments. You think about all the times during the day that you pick up your phone to entertain yourself. And we have an opportunity in Community 2.0 to be part of the sort of entertainment that an individual is going to have while they're waiting for the bus or they're waiting for their pasta water to boil. And what I really love about it is that it allows us to actually connect a brand's identity to the way that we're going to go about having that conversation. I'm going to show some examples I'm going to show some examples later. But if your brand is sort of a little bit more formal, but friendly, you're able to actually bring that through into your conversational tone. Whereas if you're sort of more light and fun, or you're trying to be fashionable or cutting edge, those words and that kind of language we're able to incorporate into the engagement. And as a result, we find that people that are members of these communities, it actually helps with their own engagement with the brand because they really do feel that connection. Let's hear from Danica. So Danica from Diageo. Diageo was really, she was charged with reimagining what her communities would look like and sort of rethinking their relationship with their customers. And Matt, I'll just let you play that video to let Danica speak in her own words.
Sounds good.
Hi, I'm Danica Daly from Diageo North America. We partnered with Reach3 and Rival Technologies probably about 3 years ago when we were looking to transition our existing shopper panel from a more traditional email-based approach to be more in the moment. We wanted something that was mobile first and much more conversational, because our ultimate goal is to get closer to the shopper. And how we do that is by being where they are, which is on their phone. So we've had some tremendous benefits after making this switch, most specifically when it comes to response rates. We've had more response to survey activities than we've ever had before, but specifically amongst key demographics that we're really interested in. So those younger, more multicultural shoppers, they're much more likely to engage in our activities when it is on their phone. Also, overall, it's just helped us get closer to the shopper in terms of who they are. We get to see them with the video selfie capabilities. We get to see where they are, who they're having drinks with when they're answering our activities, what they're thinking about when they're planning for an occasion. So overall, we've just been tremendously pleased with the depth of information that we're able to get because of this mobile first approach to surveys.
Amazing. Thank you. And I think that Danica brings up an interesting point too around that sort of notion of a multicultural group of people. And that's been a really wonderful, beautiful side benefit that we've had in this approach. I don't know that we were necessarily thinking that's what we would find when we started out. But if I look across all of the communities that we're managing, especially in the US, we're really seeing a really great diversity. Whether that's within the African-American population, the Latinx population, and in Canada, same thing, new people to Canada. We're really able to reach out and find a really beautifully diverse group of community members. And it's because of this sort of conversational, mobile-based approach. One of the questions that we always get asked, and we might ask it again at the end, and feel free to still ask me, is about, how does this work in B2B, and, what happens if it's sort of healthcare or financial services? How does this extend? I kind of get how this works in a more sort of CPG, consumer-facing brand focus. And we've really found that Community 2.0 works just as well when we're sort of out of those sort of traditionally researched groups and into some other groups. And I want to show a couple of videos. This is from some research that we did specifically for the within the healthcare sector. So these are a couple of videos. I'm going to get Matt to first show us the video of the physician that's on the far right. And he's going to talk about sort of his experience taking a chat.
All right.
Okay, doing the survey was kind of fun. It seems I'm doing a text message with my friend in terms of communication. So it's not as boring, and I'm more inclined to continue doing it until I finish the survey rather than waiting for a few minutes if I have to stop and do something else.
So there's a physician talking about a survey being kind of fun. I mean, how many of you have done research and had people's response be, well, that was fun, or that was kind of fun? I mean, it's not something that happens, but I must admit that it is something that happens all the time for us. This ability when we're trying to talk to, in a B2B setting, when we're trying to talk to professionals, physicians, IT decision makers, CEOs, you name it, contractors, this opportunity to be SMS, to be bite-sized, to be sort of that kind of friendly conversational really makes people in their professional setting also lean into these communities because they know they're not going to be asked to do some sort of a 45-minute survey they have to sit down at their desk to do. Instead, we can also grab their micro moments. Another piece that the second video here is going to highlight is the ability for is this notion that people feel like they very much trust their mobile devices. And there's a really great study by the Wharton School that talks about how on mobile devices, people are willing to share in a way that they sort of traditionally have not been. And I'll let this young woman on the left here speak for herself.
I felt by the end of the survey like I would have trusted giving information like, you know, my age or my like location, zip code, even down to like my sexual orientation.
So there you have it. And that's something that we again see lots of people really giving us very, very deep and rich verbatim responses or selfie videos talking about any sort of variety of topics. And it's another real advantage that we have here. I will quickly answer Nicole's question, which is, can you support multiple language? The answer to that question is absolutely yes. Matt, I'll send it over to you to talk about pillar number 2.
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, actually, Nicole, we are doing research right now as we speak in over 20 markets, 20 languages. It's pretty incredible, and we're adding them by the month. So great question. Okay, pillar 2. So just in the interest of time to kind of keep rolling along here. By the way, I love those examples, and it's always that piece of research on research, particularly in the health industry. You know, there's a sort of this I would say kind of a misconception that, you know, health research has to be done in a more traditional way, and that in fact that's how physicians want to be engaged, and that's how patients and caregivers want to be engaged. And I think what we've been seeing is that's absolutely not the case. And in fact, we're seeing incredible response rates among physicians, HCPs, patients, caregivers, et cetera, with this approach. So it is a great example of how Community 2.0 really can extend very broadly across a wide variety of different types of research applications and industries. So pillar 2, we're going to dig into how our mobile chat-based techniques can really drive greater agility, flexibility, and scale in the research that you're doing. So, you know, as I mentioned at the beginning of our session here today, one of the key benefits of insight communities has always been this ability to be very agile and flexible in terms of the research activities. In the early days of communities, it was primarily qual. As Jen mentioned, you know, back at Vision Critical, we ushered in and pioneered this idea of really quantitative communities, the idea of having communities that are thousands of people and being able to micro segment and go into different groups to really engage in a more qualitative fashion and quantitative. Our Community 2.0 solution, as a result, really is a very integrated, holistic research platform. It does quant, it does qual, it does video-based capabilities. So when you think about it from a methodological design perspective, it really opens up a lot of very cool avenues. Really, we're only limited by our own creativity in terms of how we want to design different types of research techniques. One of the things beyond research techniques that's often forgotten is sort of the depth of profiling that you can capture with insight communities. This ongoing progressive profiling, the ability of learning a little bit about a particular individual over time and each touch point. And over the course of several months, you have this very robust understanding of obviously things like demographics but increasingly areas like attitudes, behaviors, psychographics, lifestyle choices, different types of decision dynamics. So you really do end up with this very holistic understanding of individuals and also groups or segments of people that might be inside your community. So this enables some really incredible learning. For example, imagine how much you can learn about someone when you engage with them over the course of months and years. Many communities that are out there, you know, more traditional ones, you might have them up and running for a few months. Our venture has been up and running for 5 years. We have some communities that have been in place that long. Because of the engagement, because of our ability to re-engage over and over through an SMS text message and a conversational tone. The other benefits of this sort of progressive and incremental iterative learning is that you're able to sample based on the responses to any question you've ever asked. So imagine being able to go back and say, I want to talk to people who did this and believe this and are in this particular region. You know, that's an incredibly powerful way of micro-targeting your research, and something that Community 2.0 absolutely supports. In addition, our platform allows for a wide range of other types of activities and stuff as well. So when you think about, you know, from a sample perspective, you can bring a lot of those previous types of, you know, conditional logic and other sorts of activities into whatever activity you're doing in that given time. So the key benefit there is it helps us to keep, you know, each activity down in terms of an overall time commitment. So rather than, you know, you think about traditional research going out and having to ask demographics and all these profiling questions, et cetera, you already have all that. So you can really jump right into the specific types of respondents you want to engage with the specific types of topics at hand. It's an incredibly efficient way of doing research, and one of the things I really love about iterative community-based learning. Okay. So as I mentioned, with Community 2.0, you have sophisticated quantitative, qualitative types of techniques and capabilities there. But the other thing that was mentioned by Danica, our Diageo client, that I want to dive in a little bit deeper on is this idea of video. So video is incredibly important. We all know that as researchers, and many researchers have been embracing video. But it doesn't need to be a standalone approach. Video doesn't need to be a separate study. With Community 2.0, we provide video and the option to use video in every engagement. So you could be doing a quantitative survey and bring a video selfie in to capture, instead of a regular open end, you know, a video open end. Or you can be doing a diary study and have the participant, you know, do their front-facing camera and actually show you what they're doing. It's a really incredible and powerful way of bringing the outside world into our research process, and frankly, engaging with consumers where they already are and understanding the context of their decision making. So, you know, I always like to think about it as, you know, quant, qual, and video, an idea of sort of 360 research that also could be looked at in the idea of behaviors, emotions, and context in one research touch point. It really is great for in-the-moment learning. And frankly, I'd love to show you really a quick little video that really brings this to life. This is from a major CPG client of ours who was doing some new product testing, new innovation work among a high value consumer segment. And in this particular instance, I really wanted to get that first moment of truth when they try a product, not just to get a sense of what they like and dislike, but also to see the emotions on their face as they're trying this particular product. So let's take a look at this.
Oh my goodness. Did you hear that? Did you hear that crunch? They're so crunchy.
It's really an incredible way to kind of get inside, and you'll notice that you know, a lot of our participants oftentimes they'll be in their car, they're carpooling, and they're waiting to pick up their kids, and they'll, you know, complete a chat and turn on their camera. It's a really awesome way to sort of engage people in a very frictionless fashion. The other thing I wanted to call out on this particular topic is we've done, you know, some extensive research on research and looking at more traditional types of email survey-based techniques compared to, you know, our mobile chat-based conversational approaches. And on the screen in front of you here in the lower left-hand side, you can see the results of one of those. We looked at a standard email-based open-ended question, and we just took an average word count of a more traditional email survey open-end, and we had an average of 17 words. We took the exact same type of survey, we moved it into a mobile chat environment using a conversational approach and a video selfie. And you can see that we ended up with 7 times the average number of words. You really do get this greater degree of depth and richness in the open-ended responses. Plus, you're able to see people's faces as they're talking to you about whatever it is you're asking. So a pretty incredible and interesting way to really get inside the consumer mind. So now I wanted to take a step into a different angle, away from testing salty snacks, and instead looking at the technology world. A little bit of a right-hand turn here. But this is I wanted to give one of our key clients, Emily Hoppes from Lenovo, an opportunity to share some of her experiences. We run a large global insight community for Lenovo and have done so for a number of years. And they've really seen firsthand some of the power of our techniques. So let's see what Emily has to say.
Hi, I'm Emily Hoppes, Director of Global Insights at Lenovo. At Lenovo, we believe that customer insights should always be at the heart of inspiring and informing our tech innovations. That's why we work with Reach3, running a large insights community with decision makers, consumers, and gamers. Lenovo's vision is to deliver smarter technology for all, where we truly value diversity, equity, and inclusion. So for one of our recent studies, we collaborated with Reach3 to better understand what it's like to be a woman who plays video games. In our study, many women gamers opened up about the online harassment that they've endured while trying to play video games. This is a difficult and personal topic for many, and Reach3's conversational tone and mobile-first methodology allowed respondents to feel more comfortable than they might have with traditional surveys. Through the selfie videos that were submitted, the respondents' personal stories brought a level of authenticity and humanity to a very real issue. And it also allowed us to tell a very impactful story to our stakeholders. Our research also gained traction with global media such as Axios, MSN, Yahoo, and PC Gamer. I'm grateful for the ongoing collaboration with Reach3 in working with us to bring authentic, rich, and impactful insights to our business. Thanks, Reach3.
Thank you, Emily. That's a great story. I love this particular topic because this is a piece of research we've done a couple different times about sort of online harassment that female gamers experience. In this particular instance, we did it in 4 global markets, and it really did reveal some very interesting things that, as Emily mentioned, got some really widespread press pickup when it was released more broadly. Okay, so let's keep rolling here. Jen, do you want to take us through pillar 3?
I sure do. So pillar 3 is really all around some of the guts of how you recruit, how you manage communities. We're going to do it pretty high level in the interest of time. But if anyone is interested in like a greater unpacking of this particular pillar, we have several full webinars that were spent talking about sort of just the specific elements of this. But let's talk about recruitment first. And I don't know if Nicole's still there. I know there was a question about like how do we get to the community in the first place? And the answer to that question is a combination of methods. We do not have at Rival. Ours does not work by having a giant pool that you're tapping into, but rather it is a bespoke community that is recruited specifically for you and your brand. And we use a bunch of different kinds of sources to recruit, because to me, every source of recruitment has its advantages and disadvantages. And I like to see something that has at least one or two, or has at least 2 or 3 different sources associated with it. We've roughly bucketed these sources into sort of 4 buckets. Established sources being, our clients' own email databases, their CRMs, can be sometimes recruiting from some of the other big panels that exist out there. The advantage of established sources is that they tend to be nice and quick. They give us an opportunity to get ourselves, the notion of you decide you want to have a community, you're excited to have it, you want to be able to be actually using it for research quickly. Established sources really help us get something up and running and ready to go. The second bucket is sort of live intercept. And we talked already about sort of the portability of the fact that our mobile device is always in our pocket and or in our purse. This allows us to recruit people in places where they are. So whether that's QR code for intercept work, whether that's something, using an app-enabled pop-up or a web-enabled pop-up, we can actually recruit people while they're interacting with the brand. The third big bucket is social sampling. because what we're doing feels like messaging, it feels like the chat that you're going to have sort of within sort of various different kinds of social networks. We find that social sampling is extremely effective because we're sort of keeping people in the context of what they were doing. You were scrolling, you see an ad, you hit the ad, up pops a chat, it asks you some simple questions, introduces the community, and you give your mobile number, and then off to the races you are. And so we've had a lot of success with social sampling. And social sampling, again, can be organic posts on our clients' own social media. It can be sometimes as significant as developing entire ad campaigns, which we have a team of people who are experts in social media advertising that will actually build social campaigns. And in certain circumstances, we've also had a lot of success working with influencers. And the third piece are sort of APIs and webhooks, which is kind of a techie way. I'd like to kind of maybe change the words on this slide to being sort of our ability to incorporate recruitment into the natural customer journey. And I'm actually going to talk about that. I'm going to unpack that more in a minute. So I'm going to just leave that APIs and webhooks alone for a second. But mixing these sources together, some that are fast, some that are slow, really gets us to these super robust communities. Matt, let's take a look at, that's all very well and good. Here's a couple of examples from some clients. So for Land O'Lakes, we have a Purina horse nutrition community. And you can see here on the left on all of the different ways that they used for recruitment. So in the top right is sort of a traditional email that got sent out to their database. What you're seeing in the images beside there are posts that they put on social media, ads that they put on their website, places that they could also find horse owners and where horse owners were having connections, and we're able to build a super robust community of horse owners. Now, I want to say as an aside, I wish every community that I ran was of horse owners, because these people love to use video. They will talk endlessly about their horses. It's fabulous, even when it's not about something that you love so well. But horse owners are a special breed. I'll say that. Let's look at something a little bit more video, another video example. And this is a great example of how, when we're trying to recruit groups of people who are traditionally difficult to bring into a research community, every client, every person I talk to, tells me about how they're struggling with Gen Zs, especially with young men. This is a difficult group to get attention. And we're going to show this sort of slightly cheeky example of how an esports company used TikTok to do some recruitment.
So you're telling me there's a chance I could win a free hoodie just by joining the Surge wave? Come on, man. You know I never lie to you. Check this out. So all you gotta do is open up the Surge TikTok, click the link in the bio, answer a few easy questions, give them some feedback, finish it up, and then bam! Look at those hoodies. Oh my God, I can't decide. That gray one is so nice, but what the hell are you doing in my garage? This isn't your house? We pulled up in this car. Am I still gonna get a hoodie? Click the link in bio, I gotta go. You mother.
I have to say, I think I've probably seen that video 500 times, and it never gets old to me, because I adore the sort of irreverentness that is going along with this idea of getting insights. This is very much, it's not a test. It's not scientific. It's not meant to be, or sort of science-y. It's meant to actually be this authentic connection between a brand and their customers. Obviously, not every brand is going to go quite that cheeky, but it's fun to be able to show an extreme example. You want to give me the next slide there, Matt? Perfect. So next we're going to hear from Larissa from Brunswick. Brunswick during COVID realized that they needed to do a better job of anticipating the needs of new boaters. All of a sudden, we weren't getting on airplanes anymore. And so there was a sort of a rash of boat purchasing that went on, and really spurred Brunswick to really think about how they were connecting with their customers. And so they built the Ripple community in the early part of the pandemic, and it's ongoing to this day. And it enables them to engage in the moment, especially among new customers. And I'm going to let Larissa talk, and then I'm going to talk a little bit more about how they've used APIs.
Hi, I'm Larissa Matz from Brunswick. The Brunswick name is not well known among consumers, but boaters know our brands. including Boston Whaler, Sea Ray, Mercury Marine, and the Freedom Boat Club. Brunswick had a deep desire to understand marine enthusiasts, to engage legacy boaters, retain the influx of new boaters, and invite the next generation. So we partnered with Reach3 to launch an insider community for marine consumers, which we call Ripple. The ability to engage our Ripple members via text-based messaging allows us to get feedback from them in the moment while they're out on their boat, living their day-to-day lives. We also have confidence in the results, knowing that these are real consumers and not just professional survey takers. We know this because we recruit them from our own marketing lists or highly targeted ads on social. We even worked with our brands to recruit live at the Miami Boat Show, encouraging attendees to sign up with a QR code. The SMS-based chats also let us gather feedback quickly. We routinely get a readable base size on the day we launch a new activity, giving our eager stakeholders near real-time results.
Great. I mean, I think Larissa makes this great comment about how she's used these different kinds of recruitment approaches in order to build this community. I do want to just spend one moment talking about APIs and webhooks. And again, that's sort of a technical term. Think about this as the opportunity to actually embed recruitment into your community in the natural customer journey that you have. So for Brunswick, you buy a boat, you go online, you register your boat. What are the things that we would commonly see? Well, we would commonly see a little checkbox that would allow you to be like, would you like to have our newsletter? Click the checkbox and you start to receive the newsletter. We are able to do that with recruitment as well. So would you like to join the Ripple community? And here's a little bit about what it's about. You click the box. And what happens is through technology, we're then able to automatically trigger an invitation to join the community right from just that simple click. And so gone are the need to sort of go away and once a quarter or once a year or whatever, pull down a list of all of the people that have joined your CRM and then send them out an email. We're actually able to do it sort of smoothly. So as each new boat owner comes along, they're able to be invited to be recruited into the community. And so there are fresh people coming in all the time. It's something that Dell does as well on the back of their CX research, where they're after you've sort of given a rating for how your service was, it invites you to join the neighborhood. And that also happens automatically, which is terrific. Last thing I will say very quickly before I pass it on to Matt on pillar 4 is around sharebacks. I said earlier, the most important thing that you can do to engage your community is make the research itself interesting, relevant, reasonably short, and friendly. That is the number one thing. I mean, I think gone are the days. I know when we started communities in the early 2000s, we still didn't even really know what to do with the internet at that point. And so we really built out portals and newsletters and all of these things that we were working to close the loop. We were trying to kind of create engagement. And that turned into something that actually is quite heavy when you're managing a community. And I think sometimes when I hear from people that I had a community, it was a lot of work. I don't know that I want to do it again. The fact of the matter is that in Community 2.0, we can make it so much lighter. These young people, they don't want to remember another password. They do not want to download an app. We were able to actually do our engagement directly in. And Matt talked a lot about how video is important. And for us, video is just as important going out as it is coming in. And so the opportunity to have our clients use video to, close the loop on sort of some of the things that they've learned, to talk about who won prizes. Those things are all still super important, but we can do it in a much more modern way. I will stop talking and I will let Bunty and Elena show you an example of one of their engagement videos.
Hey there, I'm Bunty. And I'm Elena, and we are just two of the many faces at Allbirds that are so grateful to be learning from you every time we chat.
Here's a couple of our teammates on the product and brand side that want to say thank you alongside us.
Your thoughts and ideas are directly impacting these teams' work, and we read everything that you submit. We're really appreciative of all the time you take to share your ideas.
This year, we asked you about sustainability, your relationship with nature, what you think about style, what you think about our new products, and way more. And for all of your efforts, many of you have won Allbirds gift cards along the way. Let's take a look at some people who won this year.
Congrats.
And with that, we want to say thanks again, and we look forward to chatting in the new year.
Thanks, Flock.
So that video is able to be delivered right inside of a chat, inside of a research study that you're doing, or perhaps a specific engagement study. And in moments, you're creating this really authentic connection between these two lovely ladies and the community in and of itself. And it was a lot less work than building out a newsletter or maintaining a portal. Matt, over to you for pillar number 4.
Awesome. Thanks, Jen. I love that example as well. It's great. I mean, the days of, putting a newsletter or share back together in a PDF and attaching it to an email and pushing it out, should be long gone, but amazingly so. That is the most common way that's done in more traditional insight community approaches. I love the fact that you can push that out through a text message and people can read it right there on their phone or listen to it right there on their phone. It's awesome. Okay, so pillar 4, just to keep rolling here, we're coming up on the hour and we're covered a lot of content. I appreciate everyone sticking around because and really being interested in kind of the deep dive version of Community 2.0. This final pillar is something that, frankly, I'm quite passionate about. It's really this idea of sort of, elevating the insights that you're capturing through next generation deliverables and what I refer to as digital storytelling. This idea of, trying to activate through stories instead of just, someone who has a ton of data and charts and that sort of thing. So, I think I liken this to sort of what I would call the conundrum of the community, which is you have all of this data, you're doing so many different types of activities. How do you really activate all of that information in a way that, actually, works with business planning and business operations around your organization with different types of stakeholders? And so the way that we approach this at Rival Group and through our Community 2.0 solution is really a suite of deliverables, having the right deliverable for the right audience, essentially. So for some audiences, you want immediate access to the data. And of course, our next generation conversational insights platform, the Rival platform, allows you to go in real time and see results. You can see quantitative data, qualitative results, videos. You can do keyword searches on videos, et cetera. It's a very robust platform. For others, they may want PowerPoint, and of course, we can do PowerPoint till the cows come home. And our teams are very good at that as a result. But in addition to that, we're also pioneering mobile deliverables and digital stories that really help to activate the findings among non-research stakeholders. So marketers, the C-suite, product managers, et cetera. So on the screen in front of you, we have a couple different examples. Over on the left-hand side, that's our real-time tap right into the Rival platform example. On the right-hand side, you see a little bit of a video show reel. This is something we often do to help to bring to life a particular consumer segment, to really bring kind of the voice of the consumer or the voice of the customer into the boardroom. And then in the middle, you can see a really interesting sort of dynamic deliverable that's actually a curated digital story that can be delivered through your phone, can obviously be viewed on desktop and laptop as well. And what we found is that this really helps to get all of the cool things that are doing on the community out into your organization, because the last thing you want to do is to do all this great, compelling work and then have it sit on a shelf or have people not really know what exactly is being done there. So let's go ahead and right now take a listen to one of our clients at Kellogg's. This is Melissa Davies. And she's going to talk a little bit about some of the deliverables that we've done for her. So Melissa, are you there? Are you there, Melissa?
Outside the technology and just the approach that Reach3 had, the fact that their deliverable is like amazing. We've worked with suppliers before where you have to really work with the deliverable, not Reach3. Like we almost got it. It was like perfect from the beginning, just some minor tweaks. And the fact that we had these workshops, their digital kind of, I think, John, you'll talk about it, but your digital top line was amazing and really interactive. And then we had specific breakouts with specific teams, because at Kellogg's, since we are so big and we're trying to cross so much ground, it's really important that we immerse folks in the finance, not just sending out a PowerPoint deck or even the digital top line, really walking them through and having a conversation on what this means on their business. How could we really change? What's going to drive change? What are those next things we want to go uncover? Like John mentioned about this could lead to more questions, and it did. But that means it was great work. So I think that was what really struck me with the activations and the workshops.
Yeah, I think in this particular instance, this is actually a shopper piece of research, which was, you think about the stakeholders in that are actually external. So actually going to retail customers and using the results of the research to help to influence what external retail customers might do and the types of products they might stock and things like planograms and other in-store marketing types of activation. So some pretty cool ways to really bring deliverables to life there. So I think, one of the things as I've mentioned a couple of times, I love hearing about, hearing from our client partners about, their preferences and the research they're doing and their feedback. It's something we take, very seriously. For communities in particular, I will say this, having the right partner is incredibly important. As you may know on this call that, you're going to be working with your community partner on a weekly basis. And so when you're evaluating a community partner, there are a few things to keep in mind that we've listed out on the screen here in front of us. Strategy. So really defining upfront what the strategy of that community is going to be. What are the objectives? What are you trying to accomplish? What type of information and insights are you hoping to bring into the organization? Recruitment. Jennifer talked a lot about our recruitment and multifaceted ways of doing recruitment. That recruitment strategy is also important to get alignment on up front. On the execution side, really understanding whether or not, your community partner can do the types of research that you want to do, qual, quant, video, implicit approaches, projective exercises, those types of things is all really important to have an understanding of up front. Measurement, being able to understand how you're going to gauge the ROI and actually measure effectiveness. That's something that's really important, particularly when you think about coming up at the end of a year and looking at extending and keeping this really valuable resource going on an ongoing basis. And then finally, flexibility, just having a wide variety of service levels to meet your needs. At Rival Group, we offer our clients the ability to do things themselves if they want, get some help from us if they want, or have us do it all for them if they want. So a really wide variety and spectrum of services is something that is really important as well. And then finally, probably the biggest thing about getting started is speed. In the old days, or more with more traditional, email-based insight community approaches, oftentimes the setup can be 3, 4, 5, 6 months. Businesses don't have that kind of time to waste these days. And so we offer some really, really compelling quick start options that really bundle all these facets in and trim the fat of a lot of the more traditional approaches into something that's very lean, agile, and effective, delivering value really from day one. So with that, we have reached the end of our webinar today on Community 2.0. So you've made it. We've made it, and we have a time for a bit of Q&A before we shut down here today. Are there any questions that we'd love to have from the audience? Questions?
Matt, one question that we often get, I'll ask you a question. How about that? Are there any specific considerations when creating multi-market communities? That's a question that I often get. Yeah.
Yeah, great question. So yeah, there's a ton of considerations on multi-market. There's no question that when you decide to go global with a community, it does introduce a strong degree of complexity. Things like, do you need in-market teams? Obviously, you need to be able to do, local language, but you also need to be able to understand sort of the nuances of the audiences in these markets nuances of language, nuances of how they respond, and also just like day-to-day behaviors and attitudes. And so having, on the boots on the ground, so to speak, in these regions or other markets is important. And then in addition, just the execution process, everything that you do, has to be done in multiple versions or iterations for different languages. And then on the back end, you have to take the data and roll it up. And some people like to analyze things by region or individual market or create sort of a weighted global total. Our teams have a lot of experience in global communities. We have over 24 global communities up and running right now, as I mentioned earlier, across 20 markets. And it is something that is a bit more of a complex endeavor, but something that is, can be really powerful, particularly for a lot of our North American-based clients who operate in a global basis. So if anyone on the call has particular, additional questions on global, feel free to reach out. We'd be happy to set up a special time to chat further about that.
Perfect. And I think that brings us to the top of the hour. So thank you very much, everyone, for spending the time with us today. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a great day.